Why hello there, politics fans. I assume that's what you are if you actually clicked on this video. But if you aren't, well, you read the title, you know what you're in for. So, presidents. They're an interesting thing, huh? A lot of countries are ruled by presidents. People who are elected to office for only a certain amount of time. And today, I'm going to be talking about them. Specifically, the assassination attempts on US presidents. So, let's get into it. Now, the first assassination attempt in history was on Andrew Jackson, and it was by a guy named Richard Lawrence. Andrew Jackson was at some guy's funeral. Richard Lawrence comes by with a gun, and he thinks that he's the heir to the British throne and that Andrew Jackson owes him a bunch of money. So, he comes with a gun, tries to shoot him. Luckily, both the shots misfire, and he's absolutely fine. Then, Andrew Jackson, being Andrew Jackson, just charges at him with his cane and tries to kick his butt. So does Davy Crockett, because he was also there, apparently. Next thing. Now, this is on Abraham Lincoln. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, I already know about the Lincoln assassination. No, I'm talking about the attempt on him before that. So anyway, he was in a carriage. He was going somewhere in Washington, D.C. in the woods, and when a bullet goes through his hat by an unnamed sniper. He was actually relatively calm about the whole thing, apparently. Now, as for morals for this guy who tried to shoot Lincoln, well, we don't know. We don't know who the guy was, so that you can't blame me on that. His morals were unknown. And the next thing I would like to mention is the one on Theodore Roosevelt. So, on Theodore Roosevelt, my personal favorite president, he was giving a speech to get a third term under the Bull Moose Party, which is a political party that I'd never heard of until hearing about this. And John Schrank, a insane guy, he comes up with a gun, tries to shoot him, and it hits him in the chest. So, you may think, wow, Teddy Roosevelt's gonna die, oh no. Well, actually, he wrote a very long speech that he happened to have in his pocket, which protected him from the impact of the bullet. Very lucky. Very, very lucky. And then, being Theodore Roosevelt, he continued giving the speech and was completely fine. God, he's so cool. What were John Schrank's morals for shooting Roosevelt, you might ask? Well, he claimed that the zombie William McKinley spoke to him in his dreams and told him to shoot Roosevelt. Which kind of makes sense. William McKinley must hate Theodore Roosevelt because of the fact that he was a president who got elected a second term and then got assassinated, and then his successor became way more famous than him. Who's ever heard of William McKinley, am I right? Next assassination attempt was on Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Roosevelt, that's what they say. He was given a speech in the back of a car in Miami, Florida, when Giuseppe Zangara, an Italian immigrant who thought that poor people didn't have many rights, I worded that so oddly, came up with a gun, tried to shoot him. He missed. That's absolutely the most straightforward assassination attempt you can get. And next one was on Harry S. Truman. These two guys, Gisela Torsola and Oscar Collazo, try to pronounce those first time. You're not going to be able to. Go in while Harry Truman's staying at a hotel. They come up with a plan to sneak into the hotel and try to shoot him, but they get caught while they're doing it. One of them got the death penalty for shooting someone, the other got the life in prison. And as for their morals, I'm too lazy to look up their morals. So, that's all you're gonna get for that. Now, what's the next thing? JFK. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. No, it's not that. He had an assassination attempt. Not the whole snipey thing. No, different thing. Basically, some guy threatened to ram a car full of dynamite into the building he was staying at. But then he saw, his wife and kids, and he decided against it. But I count this as an assassination attempt and not just the plot, surely because he had already put dynamite on his car. So, I'd consider it an attempt, wouldn't you? Now next, we got Richard Nixon. And the first attempt on him was from Arthur Bremer when Richard Nixon was basically on vacation. Anywho, this guy just stands on the side of the road and tries to shoot him through his car window, but the car goes by too fast. Pretty simple. As for morals, again, I don't want to look up his morals. Come on. Oh, also, same for a lot of people on this list, so don't expect me to give morals for every single person. You got that? You got that? You got that? There was another assassination attempt on Richard Nixon, and it was by a guy named Samuel Bick. or bike. I can't tell how it's pronounced. Anywho, this guy is a Santa impersonator who basically wanted to hijack a plane and crash into the White House and killed an officer in the process. Then the officer murdered him while he was trying to do it. So, you kill an officer kills you. That's kind of how the system works, you know? Now, next, of course, we got Gerald Ford, who is pretty famous for having 2 assassination attempts within a month. The first one was by Lynette Fromm, or Squeaky Fromm, as she's commonly referred to as. She came up while Ford was giving a speech and tried to shoot him. That's also pretty generic, but also who can say why. And guess what? I have morals. I bet you're so happy right now. So she was basically part of a cult by a guy named Charlie, forgot his last name. So she wanted to get arrested for that, go to court, then hope that this Charlie guy would be called up as a witness and save the world. I have to ask her the question, how is being a witness in a court case gonna save the world? What? Huh? Okay, what? Huh? Why? Anyway, the next one was from Sarah Jane Moore, also on Gerald Ford, of course. And it's funny, because he was the only president to have an assassination attempt by a woman, and 2 within a month. That's just a weird coincidence, I feel like. Anyway, she buys a gun, she tries to learn how to use the gun, and misses the shot, and then some guy tackles her. It's a fun story. I don't have the morals, but it's a fun story. And the next one is probably another one of the most famous, on Ronald Reagan by John Hinckley Jr. Now, what happened was Ronald was coming out of a building and trying to get into his limousine when Johnny comes up and tries to shoot him. And there's a bunch of, it's really complicated. He gets pushed in the car, then the bullet goes through the car. It's really weird what happened. What were his morals, you may ask? Well, he wanted to impress the child actress Jodie Foster after watching Taxi Driver. He failed miserably. In fact, he actually traumatized her, so call that a success, buddy. Call that a success. Oh, also, brief mention about Jimmy Carter. John Hinckley Jr. pretty much tried to get him, but also he changed his target to Reagan, so you let me know if that counts. In the comments, if they show up, because Kappa might get me. Next thing, we got one on Bill Clinton. Yeah, that's right, you've probably never heard that Bill Clinton got an assassination attempt of his own. But he did. He did. I'm pointing a lot. So yeah, he was at the White House, just at home, when the guy, Francisco Martin Duran, comes up and tries to shoot a bunch of bullets at the White House. Which, I really can't see that working, but go ahead and try. It's not going to work. Now next, we got George W. Bush. He was giving a speech in the country of Georgia. Yes, not the state. There's a country called Georgia. When Vladimir Aruthian, I think, comes up and throws a grenade at him, but it fails to detonate. Lucky day. Lucky day. Next, we got one on Barack Obama. And by Oscar Ramiro Ortega Hernandez. That's a mouthful, and the assassination attempt itself, the exact same as Bill Clinton's. Guy shoots a bunch of bullets at the White House. Now here are where things get complicated in this video. Donald Trump had 3 assassination attempts. 3. Oh my god, the trauma induced on that man is horrible, but also, I'm not the biggest fan of him myself. So his first assassination attempt was by Michael Stephen Stanford. So he was giving a speech when this guy just steals a cop's gun and tries to shoot him. Very generic, but except for the stealing part. And then he gets arrested. And the next one we got was by Thomas Matthew Crooks, probably the most famous of these assassination attempts. Trump was giving a speech, and he got nicked in the ear by this guy as a sniper rifle. As for morals, I find this funny. We have no idea because he was murdered by Secret Service so quickly. They didn't even have a trial or anything. They just killed this guy. Dang. He kind of gets it, but he killed some dude in the audience, so yeah. And then we got Ryan Ruth at a country club. Some old guy at the country club tries to shoot him.
Well, that's it for the assassination attempts. In a future video, I'll be talking to you about the US presidents who've actually been assassinated. Sure, it's a dark part of American history that changed so many things for the worse, but doesn't that just make it more fascinating? Well, thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Bye.